Hello, my name is Logan Kirkus, and this is a presentation for the board's objectives. I am a game art and animation student at University of Advancing Technology, and this is just a video showing how my works meet the objectives. So starting with objective 1, is based off of traditional art theories and current game development practices. Starting off my first one, this is a perspective piece of a room, where this shows my ability to use basic lines, color value, textures, all that kind of stuff. Going to the next building, it shows a building that I found in Flagstaff where it focuses on 2 different focal points that go off to each side of the page. It also shows basic color, value, lines, value, lines. It's also a great place to learn location when you're trying to pick up buildings to make for video games, to finding something that inspires you. Going to the next one, it's more of like a grid system of just different artifacts that I drew, showing lines, color, correct reflections, texture, all that kind of stuff. And this is a piece I made for one of my projects in Photoshop, just creating a dynamic scene that looks kind of crazy. It also shows my ability to crop, place, and saturize images together to kind of make it look like it functions and belongs there. And then these are some of my personal works that kind of go more into form. This one actually does color value because I actually have correct lighting and shading, and I mix the colors myself to make that happen. And to this one, it's more about space, doing a dark background with a bright, colorful character coming out. And this one's more about form, color, and value, when I actually have a human body, kind of getting more into the human body. Going with objective 2, this is basically more about pre-production. In my case, being an artist, I did more concept art and UI and HUDs. Starting with the first one, this is a anime character concept art that I created based off of existing photos, but I created this on my iPad in Photoshop. If it wants to come up, there it is. And this is my other one that I also used off of an existing picture, but I created this concept art in Photoshop as well. This is also concept art of a character, and I made this on canvas with acrylic paint. And this is a concept art of a video game character, and this one was just done with markers. And this is my one of my 2D scenes I made in Photoshop. This scene itself isn't really what I'm trying to portray here. It's more the actual HUD that's going on and the UI on the bottom. And then I also created an entire Unreal working main menu, pause menu, and there's a working HUD in there as well. So just going to objective 3, this is more talking about the ability to create fully optimized 2D and 3D assets that are textured and utilizing industry standard software. So starting with the tree, I created this in 3ds Max, basically creating a trunk that I unwrapped and textured it, and then I made in Photoshop this branch with leaves, where I made an alpha texture, where I put it back into 3ds Max, creating these planes, making it look like it has branches. This is showing it in a Unity scene that I created, made a whole forest there. And this is my 3D character that I created in Maya, and the dagger. And I put it into ZBrush, where I added detail, clothing, hair, eyes, different facial expressions, unwrapped and textured it in ZBrush. And here's some of the texture maps and normal maps for her. And this is the dagger up close. For the texture, I was kind of going for more like a Damascus steel. And this is a part of a modular building that I was making. It's one with a window, one with just a regular wall, a concrete sidewalk, and a cardboard box to help the scene kind of feel a little bit more alive. And then here's my 2D scene with a HUD and all the assets here that are all perfectly working, and they could go right into a 2D game. And then my 2D vector art goblin right there I made for that scene to basically be the enemy in the scene. Going to objective 4, this is all about animations in 2D and 3D, just understanding of keyframes and motion capture. Starting with the goblin, here's his walk cycle. Then going down, also created a chest animation. You can see it opens and closes, and it has working hinges on the back. Going to the next one, this is a creature that I was given for one of my classes. I created a custom rig inside of his body. I way painted him and created a walk cycle using keyframes. And this is a character that I made, put into Motion Builder. Using the motion capture recordings, I created an idle animation for her, as well as a running animation. However, this animation was meant to be a little weird, so it's pretty scary to see, which you'll see in a little bit. And this is the actual video, I'll show it later. And then we also made this, everyone made one of these Taylor animations, one of the first 3D animations we did. So going to Objective 5, this is all about integrating your assets into a game engine. So everything has to be into a game engine. So in my game production studio class, I created a lot of assets. Here's some of them, anywhere from a blacksmith station, bellows, furnace, pitchfork, scythe, axe, there's an axe over there, sword and shield, anvil, workbench, the chest. Also created this bell tower for that game. And then this is the gazebo I made. And then obviously the tree from my Unity scene that I created. Oops. And here's some of the video of the Unity scene I created. However, I did not create all the models in this, but I did create the trees and textured them, as well as the shrubs that you'll see later. You can kind of see that the whole forest is there. I did texture everything, I just didn't create all the models. And if we go closer up here, you'll see these little shrubs. I also made those as well. Alright, let's go to the next one. I won't show that one yet. And this is for my student innovation project. I made basically a sword, shield, spear, and bow, and I made this character hold them, and at the click of a button, he can switch them back and forth, as you'll see. Yeah. Alright, and this is my character and the creature walking around an Unreal scene. You see, she's idling right there, the creature's walking around, you'll see her run is horrifying. Alright, going to Objective 6 is basically just about collaborating with a group and still producing polished and completed projects, which I worked in a group in my game production studio called Draw the Game, which I was basically one of the artists there. That my job was to create assets and match the art style of the game project. And I created a bunch of different assets, including the bell tower, the gazebo, this workbench, furnace and bellows, this torch with a sconce, candle and candle holder, all these assets, the whole blacksmith station, axe, a hammer, a saw, tools, tongs, pots and pans, things a blacksmith would make. And then here's just one of my sprint logs showing, I was in that class. And going down to the video of just basically how the game kind of worked. This is some of my assets in the actual game engine being shown. However, I did actually take more of a lead role in that group. The lead artist of the project has graduated and found a job, so she didn't have a lot of time to lead us. She asked me if I could take take a little bit more of a lead position, go to lead meetings for her, make sure the other artists are making up their hours and sending in their assets. And I was also tasked with importing the other artists' assets into the project as well, so everyone would be able to see their work in the engine for their respective class. And that's pretty much about it. Thank you.